Should we start?
Yeah.
Right, hello everybody. Hello, let's get started. So welcome to Cooking at Manchester, which is the first of our 4 events where we're going to teach you, all our students, some life skills in how to cook, food safety and costing. So this is a collaboration between the university, I'm head of education for natural sciences, with the Students' Union and with Chef Simon Wood. So we have these 4 pilot events and we'll hopefully sell out all the tickets, and then hopefully we'll go forward to a bigger and larger project. Over the 4 pilot events, we will have 2 different topics of recipes. The first one is today, which is the power and magic of a ragu. And Simon will take us through how to make a ragu safely and with costings, and how to use it in various different recipes. You'll all receive, after this event, a recipe card with all the recipes in, so you don't need to write anything down, and also information about food safety, sourcing ingredients, that kind of thing. There'll be questions at the end, so you can ask Simon any questions you have about cooking, restauranting, about him, about how winning MasterChef. Simon tells me he'll take any question at all, so I'll leave that up to your imagination.
I'll take it. I might not always answer it.
And there will be a prize of a book provided by Simon for the best question. So please ask your questions at the end, and anything you want to know about cooking, now's the time. Just to say, we are recording in several different cameras and taking photographs. If that's a problem for you, please come and tell one of the event staff, and we'll make sure your image is not used. Fire escapes, in case it happens. We've turned off the smoke alarms, by the way, so no issues should happen there. There's 1 there, and there's 2 at the back. If the alarm goes off, there's no tests planned, so please, we'll get out as fast as we safely can. So all I can do now is welcome Simon Wood to the university. Chef, author, restaurateur and TV star.
Hi everyone, how are we all? Can you hear me okay, first of all? Yes. And you can all see what I'm doing? Good. So I'm Simon Wood. I'm the MasterChef champion from 2015, which is some 10 years ago now, and that's gone really quickly. I won back in 2015. I went on to open a restaurant in Manchester City Centre, which I closed in October last year. I opened a hotel in Chester, and I opened an everyday eatery down in Cheltenham, which does breakfast, brunch and Sunday lunch. My passion for food comes from a very young age. It's something I've always loved to do. I love food, and I think no matter where you come from, what you do, any walk of life, food resonates with you at some point in time. It can be when you go to your grandma's, when you go to your mums, your dads, your brothers, your aunties, your uncles, funerals, weddings, birthdays, it doesn't matter. Usually, it's always in the kitchen, isn't it? That's where everyone migrates to, and food's such a family and friend orientated thing, and that's what draws me to it. But I also like to cook food that's really tasty and on a budget as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a ragu, and then I'm going to show you how to be frugal with what you've got. I'm going to show you a great, tricky leftover dish that you will never miss from your main meal, and we're going to make a traditional bolognese ragu. We're then going to split that out, and we're going to go into an English version of a cottage pie. And then we're going to go all the way over to Mexico, and we're going to make ourselves a chili as well. So you can split that out however you like. You can serve it with however you want. I'm going to make it nice and simple today. I've got my pan nice and hot. Go in with some onions. What I will do, I'll show you how to chop an onion, but I want to get the cookery process moving as well at the same time, which is really important. We'll go in with a little bit more oil. And then once they're in, a little stir around. We'll get them moving. I'm not going to season it just yet. What we're doing there is we're just rendering the sugars out of that. So they'll go nice and sweet and caramelised, and it'll make everything taste that little bit better. A little bit of time with an onion is a wonderful thing, and I'll show you a little trick with garlic in a minute too. So this is when you work in a restaurant, this is the onions that you get. When you go to Tesco or wherever, you get onions which are this big. So your recipe card, when you get it, says 3 onions. I've just brought 1. And this will do. I've worked out the pricing for this as well. So this menu will give you 18 meals and a couple of leftover bits and bobs, and it will cost you £27 for all the ingredients. So £1 10p per meal. I'm going to go in with a little bit of salt in there now, cracked black pepper, and then we'll go in with our mince as well. So take that off, get rid of that. And all we're doing there is just browning things off nicely. Now, if we've got any vegetarians, vegans, any kinds of different things, if you don't eat beef, if you only eat lamb, you can make this out of whatever you like. You can use lentils, you can use chickpeas, you can make it into a dal style, you can do whatever you want. I'm using this today because it's just the way I kind of like it, to be honest. I'm going traditional. Back to our onion. So we've halved it, we pulled the skin off, we'll take the end off, and when you're cooking at home, always have a little rubbish box. I've not put it at the front here because I don't want to block your view, but always have that, and then you not keep turning around. You see, how many times did I go to the bin then? Did anybody count? Like 4 or 5? When you're in a kitchen for 15 hours, this, and that's what it's like, and that's what you're doing all day. So put your rubbish right in front of you so you can just throw it away as you like. I'm going to add a few more onions. And when you're chopping an onion, we're going to go down like so. And then nice and fine. So you can see, you get nice little pieces like that. You can go finer, you can go bigger. It depends genuinely just how much you like it. Another little hint and tip, if you're an at-home cook, is get yourself one of these. It's just called it's a pastry card. And then when you're picking things up, all in one. Nice and quick, nice and simple, no messing around. We'll pop that over there. So we're browning off our mince. You'll have to let me know if it gets too smoky anywhere. I will do my best not to set the fire alarms off. They have been turned off, so. We're going to brown our mince there. Does anyone watch MasterChef? Come on, someone say yeah. You said yeah. Did anyone watch me? No. It is available on Netflix if you're bored tonight. See what's happening. So we're browning our mince. Now, this caramelization that you get is where you start to build a layer of flavour. Flavour works in layers. You go in with the onion, you caramelize it, you get the sugars. You go in with the beef, you caramelize it, you get that nice Maillard reaction. And then we're going to go in with the garlic. And the reason I haven't gone in with the garlic just yet is because I don't want it to burn. And there's a couple of different ways you can treat garlic. You can do this, and then throw that in if you want. The best way to get the most money out of your garlic is to have a little microplane. You can use the box grater, whatever you like, and just grate it in. Because when you treat garlic like this, it goes straight in like that, you get so much more flavour out of it. It goes a lot further. You know, I've worked with people, I've been friends with people that say, oh, making spag bol tonight, I'm going to put a full bulb of garlic in. And I'm like, why are you wasting your money? Like, just put like 2 reasonably sized cloves in and grate them because you get the same out of it. You actually don't need to. So our mince is brown now. So the next step, and you can omit this bit if you want to. I'm not going to because I'm a chef and I like wine. So we'll just deglaze the pan. We'll go in with a little wine and we'll cook that out just for a minute or so. As that cooks out, there we are. We'll keep that cooking out. We're going to start to build our first dish. So this is a ragu, and what I want to do is I'm going to take now a little bit of our mixture. Now you can do this in batches at home. We'll pop that in there like that. So we've got our brown mince, that's cooking away. We'll go in with our tomatoes. A little bit of passata. Your recipes are all in your packs as well. So, and it does go a long way, so don't worry about it. And at this point, I want a little bit more garlic in this because I want to raise that flavour. I don't want a cottage pie that tastes like over garlicky because it's not necessarily bizarrely, a traditional British ingredient, is it? Wild garlic is, but it's not a staple in supermarkets or anywhere like that, and a three-cornered leek, things like that. So I've actually no idea why. But you can, if you go out foraging, you can find three-cornered leek. It tastes like garlic. It's out there now. It's a bit of a precursor to wild garlic. Here we go. So we've got our ragu. Are you getting any smells anywhere? Yeah? Good. So I've got some dried oregano. Now, a lot of chefs and people might say, oh, fresh herbs are best, fresh herbs are best. Dried oregano is an absolutely wonderful thing. It's so, so tasty. Always have it. You can put it in all sorts. What we're going to do, I'm just going to increase the temperature on this, and then I'm going to just check the seasoning. Always taste when you're cooking. At the minute, that tomato tastes quite acidic because it's quite raw. So we want to cook that down a little bit and reduce it so we get something that's quite thick. A little bit more black pepper just to add that slightly fragrant heat, I think is the way to do it. And then nearly, very, very nearly, that's our ragu made. So you can, that was from scratch. So you can see how quick that was. There's no excuse to not cook at home. I've got some pasta, which I cooked earlier. We'll go in with that. Take the temperature down. Now the pasta, if you buy this fresh stuff and your sauce is a bit wet, you can put it in. It takes about 90 seconds to cook. If you're being frugal with your energy, you've got a meter at home, or whatever it is, the fresh pasta might cost a little more, but it cooks a lot quicker. It's probably cheaper than the energy it takes to sit and boil dried pasta for what should be about 9 minutes. If the packet says 12, ignore it. It's knackered after that amount of time. Don't do it. So there we go. I'm going to go in now with some basil. I'll show you. You can use all of it. Just twist that end off and then roll it up a little bit like a cigar and just finely shred it right the way through. I think basil is it's the most giving herb fragrance wise. If you just like rub a little bit on your fingers, you can smell it for ages, and it's really giving, and it's everything about this dish is like basil and garlic is just wonderful. So we'll take this off the heat in a minute. I'll get one of my bowls. Pop that in there. There we go. So that's our ragu, pasta bolognese. Let me just tidy that bowl up. It's a chef thing to like, the presentation is it's really important. I don't know whether you do the same thing at home, but I do, because it's inbuilt, I can't stop it. We'll take some of the little basil leaves and we'll just dot them around. Now, if you're showing off or you're trying to impress, always work in threes. Threes or fives, odd numbers. Never put 4 things on, it just doesn't look right. It's a chef's rule. I don't know where it comes from. It's a definite thing. So we'll go on there with our basil. And then we have a little bit of Parmigiano. Now, I don't like to wash this. This is something that I do at home. Now, you've still got that little essence of garlic there. It's not loads, but it's just enough. So grate the cheese through that. There we go. Tiny bit. That'll last for about 3 months in the fridge. Just wrap it up. Absolutely fine. And there we go. That's our first dish. So that's dinner. How long was that? What did we work to then? 15 minutes. Was it that long? I thought it was quicker than that. I'm quite disappointed. It might have been 10. So there's our first dish. Next up, we're going to do our shepherd's pie. Now, I'll dice the carrot quite quickly and get this other pan on here. When you're peeling carrots at home, has anyone got a veg peeler? It can be like this, little silver one, whatever it is. Let me show you something. They work both ways. Yeah? So you probably don't know that. It's probably a little revelation for you. You might not be excited by it at all, but I remember the day I found out, and it was life-changing. Not a lot's happened to me, that's very good. So that's how you peel the carrot. When you're chopping the carrot now, we'll go in with a little more oil. This is our cottage pie, remember. So we'll go in with some oil. We'll take our carrot, and we're just going to, first of all, safety. I've used a serrated knife to go through that there, but I want a flat base to work on. Then we'll go into little julienne. Now, I'm going to go into this bit with the carrot first. Has anyone got any inklings why? You don't have to answer, just have a little think, why would you do that? And the answer is, pure and simple, because it's the most dense vegetable and it'll take the longest to cook. So that's as simple as it is. We'll dice that into a little square. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we're not cooking for the Michelin Guide, which is a lot more stressful than this. This is quite enjoyable, let me tell you. So, again, pastry card, one movement. Ish. No messing about. So our carrot's in. We've got our spoon now, and this, sadly, is not a can of beer. It's beef stock. So we'll go in with some beef stock. And what we're going to do, we're going to reduce that down. As that reduces, it'll thicken slightly. We'll whack the heat up, get that really moving, before we go in, again, with our base mix, our ragu mix. Now, I don't need oregano. I don't need anything else here apart from just a little bit cracked black pepper, some salt, and then, can you see how much that's boiling? Is it there? Can you see? Hang on. That's boiling away, and then we'll go again. This stove gets all stressed when you take the pan off. So that's boiling away quite nicely. Liam Perrins, it's a wonderful thing. Does everyone know what this is? Worcestershire sauce? Worcestershire? Does everyone know what it is? Does anyone not like fish? Hands up if you don't like fish. Do you like this? It's got fish in it. Just so you know. It's got anchovies in it. So we'll go in with a good hit of that. Plenty of that. This is a wonderful thing on so many things. On chips, on cheese on toast, in shepherd's pies, in stocks, sauces. So many different things. Let's pop the lid on there a minute. Have a little tidy round. There we go. That's cooking out nicely. We'll go in with some peas. There we go. And again, just a little bit of cookery on the peas. We don't need a lot. You can put them in straight from frozen if you want. If you do, remember that they'll have a little bit of excess water. So that'll make your sauce thin again. So you'll have to just reduce it again a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit more of our filling, just so there's no half measures. And then there we go. That's our shepherd's pie filling. Now, mashed potato, a hangover's best friend. Sometimes. So you can see we're making our pie there, taking care not to burn this desk. I was listening. So we got our shepherd's pie. Now, I reckon this will go. If you don't like making mashed potato at home, it takes too much time. Buy the ones that you get in a tray from Tesco or whatever. I think they're about 95p. You can get 2 portions out of it. I made this, but when you get the ones from the supermarket, just add A good dollop of butter to it. If you've got a little milk or a splash of cream, do that as well, and some seasoning, because they're always under seasoned. And then shepherd's pie. Oh, we've got a split bag. Never work with piping bags, children or animals. Again, we'll just tidy that edge up, put that in there. And then, if you like, and only if you like, just a little bit of cheese on the top. You only need a bit, just a gesture. Some cracked black pepper. And there's another dish. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this pan now, and we're going to get into a chili. So, chili is a wonderful thing. It's something that I really enjoy. I think it's the easiest thing to split into so many different guises as well. You can basically fold it in lots of different shaped wraps and cover it in different cheeses, and you get different meals. But it's good fun. So we've got our mince that's browned off. We'll go in with our beans. Some more tomatoes. There we go. Oh, we're going to need more than that. And then our passata again. Now you can see, this is quite an easy, quick thing for you to do. It doesn't matter what equipment you've got. I'm doing everything mobile. I haven't prepared really anything at all before I got here. I'm doing this, what they'd say in the trade as a la menu. So we've got our chili on there, dried oregano, plenty of that. I'm going to add a little bit of celery. We'll get that in, and then take our spoon. We've got some chili powder. Now, it depends how hot you like it. You know, it's called chili. It should have a little bit of heat in it, in my opinion. I've got some smoked paprika. Equal measures. Now, this, if you haven't got a big store cupboard, this is one of the things you should get. It's called Aleppo chili peppers. It's a chili flake. It's not too hot. It's quite chocolatey, smoky, sweet. Really enjoyable. Works on so many different things. And we'll go in with a little bit of that. And then I've got some ground coriander and some cumin seeds. Not too much. Get that over there. And we'll start to cook that through now until it goes nice and dark. I'm going to add a little splash of stock just to get the sauce and the depth of flavour really coming through. I think it's really important. And then we'll add a bit more garlic. If you haven't got a grater, this is the way to do your garlic. Oh, I forgot to show you one thing. At home, every time you set up a chopping board, if you've got a glass chopping board, do yourself a favour, throw it away. Use it for something else. Awful things, absolutely lethal. Get yourself a nice wooden chopping board. You can salt it to clean it, or a plastic one, doesn't matter, but they really are the best things for the job. And then underneath it, put some kitchen roll like that that's wet. Yeah? Because it won't move. And then when you're chopping and slicing things up, you're doing it safely. And it's just, every chef does it. Rubbish box, little blue roll, kitchen roll, whatever it is, under your board, you're good to go. So your garlic, if you haven't got a grater, simply, and then we'll get it going like that. What you can do, if you haven't got a massive knife like this, which you probably haven't, get that together. Take a few grains of salt. And there you go. You've got nice minced garlic that can go straight in there. That's coming along very nicely indeed. We're going to take some coriander. I like to use the fresh herbs to finish. You can cook with it, but you lose everything that's in there, really. It adds a little bit, but not as much as what it does when it's fresh like this. So we'll have that right at the end, and we'll finish with that as well. Herbs for cooking with, in my opinion, things like fresh oregano's got quite a woody stalk, so you can use that. Thyme, rosemary, different things like that you can use. That's where you compare flavour in the entire cookery process. Again, going back to those layers of flavour that we talked about, I think it's important that no matter what you're doing, where you are, you know, if you're at home or you're at a friend's or you're on a date or you're showing off or whatever it might be, if it's just for yourself, always put the same amount of effort into what you're cooking. It's you want to enjoy it. You're putting time into it. You know, if you're using an animal, that animal should be respected. If you're using vegetable, that farmer should be respected. You know, there's all kinds of different things that should be thought of. It's not just a case of, I can't be bothered. Like, always in your mind, be thinking about how to make it better, how to look after it, how to get the best out of it. And let's not forget, you want to eat it again. So, that now is our chilli ready. All these elements here, if you have like freezer bags with a Ziploc, no, take a portion out, put it in a Ziploc bag, flatten it, and let it go, like let it chill for about an hour on the side, and then pop it in the fridge and freeze them flat like that, because then you can take them out. This is a sink, in case you don't know. Pop it in a sink and just run cold water on it to defrost it. Everywhere does it. It's perfectly safe, and it takes half the time. So that's the way to do it. So this is our chilli now. That's how you make things look flat without messing around in the bowl, just so you know for at home. That's how chefs do it. We'll take some coriander. And again, we'll go a little finer this time. Sprinkle that across the top. And again, if you've got some Doritos or whatever, you could crumble them over it. Or you could serve it with rice, or you could serve it in a tortilla wrap, or many different things. Now, I've got to be honest, this is the bit that I've been looking forward to all day. Because this is how you get the most out of your money's worth, if you like. Because if you make that for your dinner, like that's, you know, if you have a side of broccoli or a couple of slices of bread and butter or whatever it is, however you have it, that's fine. What's really important is if you've got some bread. Now I'm using this because I bought it because I thought it would look nice on the front. If you want to use orange Warbies, that would be exactly what I'd be doing when I'm at home. So, but you've got your pie now. So just take 1 spoon of pie out. Yeah? Put it in a bowl, stick it in the fridge. That's it. You're not going to waste away. You've still got plenty to eat. But then we can make this, which, when I grew up, am I still growing up? Probably am. But when I was at home, when we had like dinner, lunch, whatever it was, tea in our house, you'd always, like, there'd be bread and butter on the table. It was just a thing, and I don't know if anyone does that or if it's just like an Oldham thing or whatever it is, but it is a thing. And if I had cottage pie, I would have brown sauce, and I'd butter my bread, and I'd put the filling on it and make a sandwich. And it's just something that's really good, and it's really tasty. So I got to thinking, how can I make the most out of this and teach students how to make something that's really quite naughty, but actually quite nice as well. So you can use oil to start with. If you haven't, I'm using butter because, and we'll just get that foaming up in there. Got some celery leaf. Now at this point, you could put Aleppo chili on it. You could put, you know, ketchup on it, brown sauce, whatever it is. So we've got some cheese that'll go right into the middle there. Then we've got our toasty. Now, if you've got one of those toasty machines, like, don't be scared to put some extra cheese in there like that. We'll show you why in a minute. If you've got a toasty machine and it does those little triangle ones, that's fine. It works. You can do it in that. It works just as well. If you haven't, and you've got to think, I've got to go out and buy a toasty machine now because I want to make toasties, you know, with my leftovers. You don't. Just do it like this. Keep turning that around. I'll have a little sneaky peek. And we'll turn that over. And then what we'll do, we'll turn it down because we want the heat to penetrate through. So we'll go in with a little bit more butter. Now, I know I'm being excessive with the butter and we're talking about saving money, but this is my butter and I'll do what I want with it. And we'll just keep going in, and it is a treat. And you can use, listen, use flora, use margarine, use olive oil, use vegetable oil, use ghee, use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So, we're going to go in with that cheese. We'll keep it going. Do you know what? I fancy some Aleppo chili. And that, it's not in your recipe guide, but I'm just showing, for example, like, this is what I want. I want to eat this like right now, and I want to eat it with chili on, cheese, shepherd's pie. You know, I'm not going to lie, I've been thinking about this toasty all day. I was going to let someone try it just for a treat, but I'm not. I'm going to eat it. So, when it's in the pan like that, our butter's going away there. It's foaming up nicely. This looks great. And we'll just, over the top, with the butter. And I know it's not good for you, yeah, and this is like a week's worth of gym in one sandwich. That is for me, probably less for you, but we'll turn it up a little bit. And we're just going to keep adding a little bit of that cheese in there because what that's going to do, it's going to crisp up and just go like really, really super tasty, which is what we want. So we've got our pie, our bolognese pasta, our other pie for leftovers, our chili, and now we've got this, the best thing ever. A big, massive shepherd's pie cheese toasty, which is just going. These stoves are so temperamental. Like, foaming butter's a wonderful thing like that, but you lift it every time. Imagine if you was on an open kitchen restaurant and that kept happening every time you did it. We'll just keep that cooking along, and then let's make it look quite nice. So, got a stick of celery, nice leaf. We'll just take it down on the angle. Now, you might not like celery that much, but it's it's got good nutrients. It's got high water content, so it rehydrates you. It's always available, you know, and it's always the same consistency. I think that's something that's really important. Right, there's our toasty, and look at that. That's what we want. We'll turn this off, and we'll just wait for a minute while that just crisps up. You know when you get like the edge of your pizza or that bit on the lasagna, that corner bit that you just like, you're nicking it, and if it all tasted like that, that's what you'd want. That's what that is. Imagine if I dropped it down. It'd be a disaster. So we'll turn that over. Put our crusty bits on. That's off. And then we'll take there we go. Don't forget your crusty bits. A little bit of extra Aleppo over the top. And that, folks, is pretty good for a leftover. If you got that served you as a main course, I'd be happy. That's all the cookery we've done. Thank you. I hope that's shown you just how easy, how quickly you can do that. You know, genuinely, with everything that we've got on all the different pans, that could be at least 4 or 5 days worth of meals made in 20 minutes. And then you can spread that out and do all kinds of other different bits, can't you? You know, bolognese works in a toasty, works in a wrap, you know, all kinds of different things. Chili, serve it with nachos, add some sour cream, add a cheese sauce. If you get, like, even if you don't want to have, there's a cheese sauce recipe on BBC Good Food that's mine. If you want it, nacho cheese, it works really well. If you don't, and you can't be bothered, cheat. Get one of those Doritos cheese sauces, or the cheaper, like, Asda version, microwave it, works really well. It's naughty, shouldn't be telling you this, and then pour it all over your chilies with your nachos, and it's great. You know, and sometimes food doesn't have to be fancy and expensive. It needs to be fun, and it needs to hit the spot. And it's pointless me showing you how to do all kinds of different bits and bobs here that you're going to go away and think, well, I can't do that, and I can't afford to go out and do it. But all this is really affordable. Like I say, there's £1.10p, less than £1.10p. That's probably cost about 40p. If you went to Fat Pat's and bought that, it'd be like 17 quid. It would. You know, like, it's true. And I know they've got other overheads. I'm not dissing a hospitality like business, but it just goes to show you can make something that's equally as good at home with just a little bit of know-how. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, I think Rob's on the mic.
Yeah. That toasty looks amazing, Simon. I hope there's some left for the host.
Yeah.
All right, there's time for questions, Simon, about cooking, restauranting, MasterChef, anything you want to ask, Simon.
Rock music. Does anyone listen to my breakfast radio show? So MMH Radio, the home of rock.
So questions, raise your hand. One right here.
Hardest thing you've ever had to make?
Hardest thing I've ever had to make. Right, so there's an Italian chef, famous, called Massimo Bottura. He has Osteria Francescana, and I made his dish, which is based on Mont Blanc, but obviously he's from Italy, so he calls it Monte Bianco. And he had a chestnut ice cream in it. And I was making it for 5 Michelin star chefs, total of 18 Michelin stars between them in total, on the MasterChef semi-final. And you have to barbecue the chestnuts like you do over coal, cool them down, peel them, and then make them into an ice cream in an hour. It was quite challenging. As well as everything else on the dish, that was just one element. So that's probably the hardest kitchen experience, with him watching me as well. So, yeah, not Rob. Massimo, yeah.
Thank you, Simon. Next question, please, right there.
If you had to cook your last meal to represent your culinary journey, what would it be and why?
The last thing I would cook?
No, like the last meal as a professional chef.
Oh, right, okay. Not for me, for someone else.
Yeah.
What would I do? I'd probably... Well, I think I'm going to die at the end of it, so I'm going to do something that's slow cooked. Maybe like I'd probably do no, but just joking. But I'm a big fan of Italian flavors and cuisine and the passion that goes into that side of it. Not for any reason other than I like having a glass of wine when I'm cooking. A nice short rib ragu that's been cooked and braised for like 12 hours with a good bottle of wine, and then all the nice aromats and so much time been taken over it. I'd probably do that. I'd make my own pasta, you know, would be in Italy. It'd be great. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Thank you. Who's next? Right up there.
Hello, sorry.
What's the one dish that you think everyone is making wrong?
Carbonara. 100%. 100%. It should have like pasta, tagliatelle, egg yolk, pecorino romano, and guanciale. That's it. No cream, no cheese, no, other cheese. That's it. And the warm pasta goes into the yolk. You stir it around with the cheese in the yolks, and then you serve it. That's it. And it's dead easy. But everyone over here has all kinds. They put mushrooms in it. They put milk in it. They put cream in it. They start putting butter in it, and it's just egg yolk. That's what it should be. That's me. I'll get off my box.
Yeah, who's that? Yeah, right there.
Do you have any tips to improve knife skills?
Knife skills. Genuinely, get one good all-purpose knife. It doesn't have to be this big, but and again, it's kind of going against what we're trying to show you here. But if you can invest a little bit into it, Get one that's slightly more expensive. Either that, or you need to buy a whetstone and get a cheaper knife and sharpen it more often. But what will happen is that will become this eventually. And it's just practice. You know, it's that rhythm. You know, we do a 4-day week in the restaurant. I might push 74 hours in that time. That's the nature of the industry. At that level, at the top level, you're cooking for Michelin, AA Guide, you're winning accolades, you're winning the best chef in Manchester, all those awards that came with when I had Wood Manchester. You've got that in your hand a lot. So it's the same as if you paint, if you sing, if you play guitar, if you drum. You know, sadly, I can't play guitar. If I could play guitar as good as I can chop with one of these, I'd be like way away with Guns N' Roses somewhere, probably.
That could be a future class. We could have a chopping class, couldn't we? Any more questions? For someone's plenty. Excellent, right there.
To wash it? You don't need to. It's as simple as that. As long as you bring it up to the right temperature, like this got up to like 90 boiling point, more or less. So it's fine. The thing with ground beef is you can't eat it raw because the meat's been ground without being seared and shaved first. So you've got to colour the outside of the meat to kill any harmful bacteria that live on the outside. You shave that off and then you've got a nice piece of meat which you can eat raw. Whereas ground meat, everything goes in, it doesn't go through that process. So anything that's on the outside that, not harmful but not pleasant on occasion, gets pushed into it and then it's all the way throughout. But as long as you cook it to the right temperature, it's okay.
Excellent, thank you, Simon. Who's next? Right at the back there.
What's your most controversial food opinion that you think many other chefs might disagree with you on?
My most controversial food opinion, it's probably not something that chefs would agree with, but I think most of the planet would. And that is that pizza, sorry, Domino's over there, pizza is the most overrated meal on the planet. That's my controversial food opinion, and I've got to be wrong because everybody loves it. I would never go out for pizza. I would never order it. If it was there, I just wouldn't have it. You know, it's just not for me, and I don't know why. I love cheese on toast, though, so it's kind of like, as you can see.
If I'd known that, I wouldn't have booked Simon, believe me. Right, a few more questions right there. Yeah.
I was wondering how you portion your meals because, like, sometimes I just want to cook for myself and then end up making enough for a family of 4. And it's just
Yeah, it's tricky. I think it comes with experience more so than anything else. And if you're being like quite savvy and a little bit frugal, if you cook for 4 and you store it and freeze it the way you want, and then just make yourself a rule that says, every Monday I'm having freezer surprise, and go in the freezer and that's it, that's what I'm having, and get through it that way. I think the minimum you can probably cook for with what you can buy with like meat and different bits and bobs, unless you're going to an actual like butcher, if you're just going to supermarkets, it's probably going to be 2, I would say. So worst case scenario, buy everything small, and then if you need to, add a side. So you're cooking less, but like this, someone might look at that pie and think, that's like I've been to the gym, I've been up all day, I've been for a run, you know, I went out last night, that's not enough. But then, like I say, if you do the other thing, like you could make that toasty and put it on the side of that, all of a sudden, like that's enough. You could add some broccoli to it, you could add some peas. So even if you've overcooked, like you were saying there, freeze it in smaller portions and pull it out when you need it and save the money, like pay it forward, is what I would say.
Wonderful, thank you, Simon. Who's next? Just you there.
You mentioned about cooking with wine. Is there anything you would look for in a cooking wine, or are you safe to just go for the cheapest wine on the shelf? And also, your favourite food?
My favourite food? Pizza. No, it's not. I think with cooking wine, genuinely, there's a lot of chefs. It depends on your budget. You know, I've been lucky enough to have some wine that have been £1,000 a bottle. I've had some wine from Aldi which was £7.99, and I enjoyed them both equally. And it's not because one was better than the other. It's who you're with, it's the environment, it's the surroundings. You're on a date, you're with your family. It could be anything. And that's my thoughts on wine. A lot of chefs would say, don't cook with a wine that you're not prepared to drink by the glass. So the one way to do that is, as a chef, is when you're cooking, have a glass of wine. And then you'll know. If you go lower down the scale, and you know, it depends. There's so many different things. If you're cooking with wine a lot of the time, it's a slower process. I sped this up today, but I would put all that in normally and reduce that to that. So if this is quite an acidic wine, you know, it will have a high sugar content still, but you're still going to get a slightly acidulated sugar flavour to it, which will affect in turn the sauce that you make. But if you're using a white wine that's quite acidic and you're putting it in a cheese-based sauce or a cream fumet sauce, which you'd have with fish, you might want that acidity. So a cheaper wine might be the way to go because it'll have less residual sugar. That's what I would say. And what was the other question? There were 2 questions. Favourite food? Just a burger. Has anyone watched the film, The Menu? Yeah. You know that burger? Yeah. That? It's just like ground beef, onions, plastic cheese, bun, 3 patties, 3 pieces of cheese. That's it. You know, and I know it's dead simple, but I've been surrounded by top-end truffles, caviar, everything for years, and you don't you still appreciate it because it's like if you're the owner, you're paying for it, but it just doesn't hit the spot the same sometimes, and it's horses for courses or whatever you want to call it. And that burger, I could probably be given 3 times a week, and every time I'd enjoy it just the same. Maybe 4.
There's time for a couple of more questions, so we'll go at the back, then we'll come down to you.
What would you say is the best investment which would be like an appliance or a skill or anything for like a home chef?
Best investment for me. Now, I'll keep this story brief. I've got 4 children. I met them mum when I was 15. We're separated now, blah, 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 etc. But when I was 18, I spent the mortgage money on 3 Le Creuset volcanic orange pans. That's why we're separated. No, it's not. But it didn't go down very well. But I've still got those pans to this day. And I bought them when I was 18, and I'm now 48. So it was a good investment. She would still disagree.
Right, here, please.
Yes. Has working hospitality ever, made you less enjoy the cooking or something like that?
It's a tough question because does anyone work in hospitality? And it can be the most unrewarding environment to be in the entire world. And the next day, you get up and you go and do it again. And you have to remember that usually it's a customer problem. You can be tired. Might not get on with your co-workers, but you know what? You can do that in an office. You can do that in a football team. I could be playing for Brazil and not get on with my left back. But it happens, doesn't it? But the most unrewarding side of hospitality is people that don't know how to do what you're doing, telling you publicly that you're shit at it. Sorry, and they do. And they put it on every forum known to man. And those forums aren't monitored, and it's demoralising. When, I've told this story to Rob, I've missed funerals, I've missed my son's engagement, I've not been to birthday parties, I haven't been on holiday still for 5 years now because I was working. And all that time, once a week, someone comes in, despite 70 hours, whatever it is, they don't care, they'll tell you that you're no good at what you're doing, yet they're a plumber. It's not fair. That's the side of it that's tricky. And that's a bit morbid, so let's have a good upbeat question. Let's talk about pizza.
Okay, we'll go here.
So you use Liam Perrington, was it the shepherd's pie?
Yeah.
Have you ever used Henderson's? And if so, which do you prefer?
Henderson's Relish, Sheffield Way. Are you a Yorkshire lad? Yeah? Technically, I live in Yorkshire because I'm in Delphi, Saddleworth. I like both, if I'm honest. I like Henderson's. I think Liam Perrington just pips it. I think if it was from there, I'd be like Henderson's. But I'm not, and I've grew up with Liam Perrington's. But it is a good alternative, and it works really well. And also, it's gluten-free, which is a big add if you've got any celiacs or whatever in there. This isn't gluten-free, but Henderson's Relish is. That's why in the restaurant, I would use Henderson's for that reason. So I didn't have to make 2 batches of stuff.
Thank you. That's time for one more question. Right there. Yeah.
What is the weirdest request you've gotten from a customer regarding some dish, like some customization or something?
The weirdest request. Wow, that's a tough one. I think you've stumped me. Let me think. I told this story outside. This is a weird request. It's not to do with the dish, though, unfortunately. So, at the time, I was an a la carte restaurant, not a tasting menu only restaurant. So, a tasting menu only restaurant, you get dessert and you paid for it. It's in your menu price. So, if you come in and it's a birthday and you want to bring a massive cake, that's fine because you've already paid for your dessert. If I've got an a la carte restaurant, I want to sell you a dessert because I'm here to make money. Or break even, which is more often than not the case, or not, as obviously I've got no restaurant anymore. But, you know, the request that I'm talking about in particular was we had a party of 20 that came in. They were on a la carte. They didn't give us a pre-order. It was chaos because they all ordered separate things. It's really hard, 8 o'clock Saturday night, cooking 40 different dishes, starters and mains. And then, do you want desserts? No, we've got this cake. Right, okay. Well, what we used to do, and people might look at me and think, what is the matter with you? We used to charge cakeage. Because if you bring a bottle of wine, you pay corkage. So that's because you're not buying wine in the restaurant. Hawksmoor, expensive restaurant on a Monday night or Sunday and Monday, you can take your own. So you might have a £1,000 bottle of wine at home, but you can't cook a steak. So go to Hawksmoor, they're going to do a great job with your steak, and you can drink your wine, and you pay them, I think you pay them the cheapest bottle of house wine. So if the cheapest bottle of house wine is 30 quid, you pay 30 quid, and their sommelier looks after your wine, decants it and pours it. Now, I do the same with cake and wine. And I'm not the only person to do it. I'm not a lunatic, right? You're looking at me funny, I can see. Like, I'm not. It happens like nationwide, and people like pull their face at it. And do you know what? If the table is spending like £3,000 and they're buying loads of cocktails, they've had drinks before, brandies, cheese boards, blah, 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 I'll sort your cake out, no problem. But my front of house manager at the time, Naomi, she's moved to Australia now, not for this reason, she told them that it was okay. So I was on the pass, it was Saturday night, I was getting quite stressed. And I'm like, why have you told them it's okay? Charge them cakeage. And she said, I've told them it's okay now, I've not told them, we're going to have to do it. So I'm like, and my business partner, Anna, at the time, she's saying, chef, just leave it alone. Like, get on with service, forget about it, it's done. We can't change it, we can't go back. Okay. There was a lovely old dear at the table that then, so bear in mind, we're cutting the cake up, they're using my big knife, which I sharpen every day, and paid £500 for. It's gone to the table, you know. And then they're using 20 plates, 20 spoons, 20 new napkins, which are linen, so they've got to be laundered. And then this little old lady at the table said, can I have a jug of cream, please? That's the strangest request. Like, I've gone through all that, you're having it all for nothing, and you want something of mine for free to complement something that you've brought in because it's quite dry. So it's a long story, and I tried to cut it as short as I could, and I probably failed.
So thank you very much, Simon. So I think the best question goes to the early question on your final dish as a professional, which I think was your question, wasn't it? Yeah, so there's a book for you at the front. I'm sure Simon will sign it for you. Just a few things from me at the end. You'll all receive a recipe pack by email, so please use that. It has food safety tips. You'll also receive a feedback form. So this is the first event of 4 pilots. And I'd like very much to roll this out in a bigger scale across the university to reach all students with this. And to do that, I need good feedback so I can convince our new president this is a thing we should spend our money on. So please, when you get the feedback form, please fill it in. Be honest with your comments. Tell us what we should be doing on this event, what you'd like to see. And yeah, that'd be very helpful for me. We have 3 more events in the pilot. The second one has a different menu. That's going to that's fakeaway, so making takeaways in a way you can do yourself. And then the second 2 will be repeats of the first 2 events. So please come down to those events. And I have one favour to ask at the end. I'd like a photograph of Simon and me at the front with all of you in to help me convince Duncan we should do much more of this across campus. So please just bear with me. We'll get a photographer down, we'll get a photograph, and then I will let you go. And thank you very much for coming, and I hope to see you at a future event. We'll just thank Simon one more time.
Thank you very much. Can I just ask for a quick show of hands, because I'm doing the fakeaway next time. I've not wrote the menu, so quick hands up. Right, takeaways. Hands up for fish and chips. Hands up for salt and pepper chips. Hands up for burgers. That's a big one. Hands up for Indian. Hands up for Chinese. Hands up for shawarma. Right, I know where I'm at. Thank you.
Right, we get the photograph. There we go.
That's on video, isn't it?
Where should we stand?
On the other side of this kitchen table.
Here we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a nice
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right. Yeah.
Sorry? I mean, I can send you the photo if you want. Is that easier? Yeah. That's right, yeah. Can we give me your email?
Over 100. Yes, that's 130. Yeah, I'm happy. I think it's event once, you have a defeat. I think we get the picture out of social media, what's going on, that's self-feature tickets. Yeah.
Great, I will send that when I edit them. Sorry.
Yeah, oversell. Yeah.
Do you want a piece of camera of you talking about the event?
Yeah, happy to do so. Yeah.
We'll keep it brief, don't worry. I'm now starving.
Are you?
I have no lunch. I knew I was coming to this after.
Well, it could be a bit left for you.
Oh no, you're fine, don't worry. It's payday, which means I get takeaway.
Oh, yeah.
Very not in the spirit of this, but.
Is that what you do on a payday?
It is, yes. It's a treat to ourselves, me and my wife. But yes, no, it's very good, very good. Yeah, I came from a podcast recording. I had no time to lunch. I came from a podcast recording, so I had no time to lunch.
Okay.
So that's why I'm so hungry.
We had two different people. You said something about
Yes, Simon.
yeah, it's amazing.
This is.
Thank you for organizing this.
You're welcome, yeah.
Really good session. I'm not sure if this camera placement could be changed, but it would be helpful to be able to see inside
Yes,
the pot.
I agree. So we have 4 events. We're going to try and get it better every time. So you're right. This was like our solution for event 1. I think for event 2, the problem is we don't have that in the university, so we're going to pay for it on an event by event basis. Whereas this is like what we already have. So session 2.
It was great to even be able to see it like this, but I just thought like if when you're cooking you want to see at what stage.
Absolutely. You want to see the onions and everything browning, don't you? Yeah, that's great feedback. Thank you. Yeah. I'm pleased you came. Pleased you enjoyed it. Look at the interest inside.
Yeah.
Science. This today is called Cooking at Manchester, where we're looking to teach our students life skills, how to cook, how to cook safely, how to do process, how to overall bring a dish together. So university is about your program, so university is also about teaching you life skills, about how to take skills and use them in your life. That's why partnering with the SU and Simon, we teach our students these life skills as possible, cooking safe, traditional batch cooking, and delicious meals.
And what have you learned today?
So, I've learned that a swivel peeler operates both ways, and that toasty cooked in pan is more delicious than toasty cooked in.
And I guess what would you hope happens next?
So, I'm very pleased about these different parts from our students. We have 4 pilot events, and this is the first one. And I'd like to roll this out to a larger stage as the university, with more events, more chefs. And to do that, we need to find out how much interest there is from our students. And today, I think that lines up very well. So it's a great success on the journalist.
And then just any, if you were invited to the next event, what do you hope they can get from that, and why should they go?
So they come along and learn how to cook. They can meet a chef who won MasterChef. They can learn how to cook economically, learn how to cook safely, and in the takeaway session next time learn how to replace the takeaway with something delicious.
Great. Anything else you want to add whilst you're on camera?
No.
Okay, that's enough. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, so sweet. It's good. Cool. Thanks a lot.
Edit that there. No, yeah. I was expecting to be asked. Was that all right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of it. Yes.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we have fake away, then we have repeat, and then we just need enough evidence.
So who provided your cameras?
So somebody inside the faculty from AV. So it's used for like teaching assistant. But what I'd like next time
is the overhead. Yeah. So we do have in our office. I would say goes to about maybe this height. Now, obviously, it needs to work for time.
Yeah, it might get in the way.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I do think that's the one upgrade we need for the next session. I mean, it needs like a gantry, doesn't it? Because I know a company that make like demo stages, but they're very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to make it secure enough on the ceiling to illuminate, right?
Yeah,
Even in here.
Yes, for the next 3 events. Yeah.
I'll have a think about what we have. Yeah, I'll definitely have a think because we have some stuff that I think could work, but I think if it works in the house, then I'll have a think.
Yeah, thank you. We'll try and test it out. I think it needs to evolve. What I'd like is this goes well. We can get the budget for a larger program. That will have to include the AV.
Sure.
So we have to sort of do our best for these pilots, and then. But a couple of people said to me after the event, that's my feedback.
Oh yeah,
get a pointing down camera.
200 degrees and your oven's on 2.
We could actually do that as like bonus footage for Simon's for the documentary we'll have to make out.
So we have a thing. You can definitely. So we have a switcher basically. More up to 4 cameras into the box, and then you can switch the camera angle. So you could or someone else could. Someone who made it. So if you
like a vision.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had a GoPro on, you could definitely cut that.
For like key bits where it's
That's what we all think. Sort of, it would have been really good to see inside. We do have a GoPro.
Should we try it for the next event? Right? Let's stick it on in the Feb event. Stick a GoPro on it, and then when he leans over, you can see how the pictures
you know, Yeah, I think you need a wireless transmitter, wouldn't you? If you wanted it live, so to speak.
Yeah, but if it was only for afterwards.
Yeah, post-production after.
But live we need a wireless transmitter.
You need something to get it from the
you try and cook lamb shoulder,
You could stream it to a phone
you can't eat it. It doesn't work.
and have the phone plugged in.
Like it's always scientific.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, because we have an 8-10 switcher, we
Share
can
the
model
You
tomorrow.
Which has 4 inputs. Just miss out a little step.
Because you really want to have live vision mixing or just use the footage afterwards. I would love to have live vision mixing.
I think it would be really good for the students to be able to see inside it.
We've learned that
outside and be wrong on the inside. So you
Put it in the house. I'll have to get a solution. We're not allowed to give it to students.
Oh, really?
No. So we've got a fair shot.
Because of allergies.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
We've got something.
if they got ill.
Yeah.
Build it. Just because obviously you don't want to.
What is happening to them?
You don't want to block anyone's
What is
vision,
happening to
but then
them?
you also want.
I don't know. We need to figure it out.
No, we haven't got a tall enough copier stand. We have like a copier stand, but it only goes, I'd say like, you're looking at like this height, which I think would be obstruction for him.
Well, that's what we're sort of thinking. It's why we put the. I mean, it'd been better if the cameras at the front when he's blocking everyone's view.
I mean, I don't think a stage will like anything physically attached to the ceiling. Because you can do
Do you say that you have lighting?
Yeah, we have like somewhat portable as well. We have both permanent fixtures, but also portable stuff you could bring down for sure.
Because again, we had to turn the lights off for the front because they were shining on the screen and
Sure.
washing it out. But obviously, then there's not much light.
Yeah, we've got like some 4 or 5 LED panels, battery operated as well, so you could definitely illuminate the stage.
put it on the shelf, and then in a few weeks' time, I'll bring it back up.
We need to get a gimbal.
We've got a gimbal.
Have we got a gimbal?
They're pain to
Are they?
to weight.
Balance and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, what's that, the A72 is it? I think it's the 4. Same as this. The inbuilt stabilisation on these is so good. I don't think you need it if you wanted to have someone.
I was just thinking, so you wouldn't have to stand, put it on a pole.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't have to stand near and block anyone's view.
Sure.
And then you could presumably. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be long enough, would it? To have the control. Yeah.
Beef
Get
of
two of us.
Yeah.
If you're making
What we need to make out of Rex rockers, the
chicken
big boom
schwa
ones on a
something
on
like
a
that,
till.
I would
Yeah.
spice seasoning with some
are you learning about some stuff as well? Where are you based?
We're 3D printing over
Okay.
in McD.
Yeah, so e-learning
So we
also
build
have some kit that we kind of. So I work in the comms and marketing team doing
Okay.
video stuff.
But if you're having
E-learning also,
and you've made a
the
nice
faculty team have
sauce,
quite good resources, so they might have something that's a little bit more suitable.
then no, don't buy it from me because you've got the sauce.
When's the next event?
I think was it
Okay. So I have some. I'm happy to dedicate some time to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do?
So you can tell you.
Thank you.
So was this recording? Or was this
It's recording.
So you have
We've got the footage.
We have multiple sources. I also turned on lecture capture.
Oh, nice.
So we've got the lecture capture cameras and the video. We've got the video and audio there. We've got yours.
Nice.
Then we've got we've got loads of videos.
Yeah.
You've got some photos as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I might be in touch then to the footage if that's okay for a video.
Yeah.
Are you in McD as well?
Yeah, 6th floor.
Okay.
Hall 1.
You wasn't you did the filming for PCB? Was that someone else?
What's PCB?
It's Derek.
Maybe not. It doesn't ring a bell. Like, lots of the stuff I do is kind of like research comms or student stuff. E-learning do quite a lot of lab filming. That's a guy called Stephen Davis.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
I'll ping him a message tomorrow just to see if he can think of anything he might have.
This is
non-intrusive to Simon, but can give you an angle.
So it's utilising.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go.
I'll
see you all maybe in a week.
Thank you very much.
One plate of food to consider this thing.
Yeah, success.
Yeah.
If anyone, cheers, mate.
The way from the camera goes.
I'm going to get your camera down.
Yeah.
This is the flat iron. This is a rack.
I need to take that HDMI cable to the porter.
And speed that makes suet texture in there. This is the heart.
Thank you. And thank you for your help. It's been really
Probably was really good. I enjoyed it. I
Didn't really know what
anything about it, so I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it was going to be a lecture, or someone said, "Oh, it's about 3D printing," or
but
like it was really good.
it's great, isn't it? So I paid for this from the National Sciences budget, opened it to all students. I need to do the fall, need it to go well, and then roll it out to a larger scale.